you while you're looking at it. Oh, okay, we are live. Welcome, Jillian LaDage.
Hi.
Oh, so it's particularly fun to have you today because you are a Harp community manager, a community leader. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a pretty unique job, I think.
It is. I think it's one we created.
Yes. Yeah. Actually pioneers, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Mia. So people are starting to roll in.
Great.
Come in and introduce yourselves. Yeah, let us know where you're coming in from. And many of you actually know Jillian from our Bright Knowledge Harp Circle. So you'll hear more about that soon. And yeah, Jillian, I mean, you know, community is such a surprise to me as what I call an essential element of harping. So as you guys know, we've been working through the wheel, the Bright Knowledge wheel, and inside are the 5 essential elements. We've already worked through artistry, technique, inspiration, learning, and today's the 5th one, community. And the reason it was a surprise to me is I actually have always been surrounded by harp community, but I didn't realize it. I only realized it when I began meeting other harpists who didn't have harp community. And this in particular happened for me when I started an intensive teaching group that I still have. We do one-on-one work and we do a lot of very intense stuff. And we also have a tight-knit community. And when I saw the impact it was having on my students, I was like, wow, this community thing is actually a big deal, you know? And that's when I began to realize, yeah, it's actually an essential element. And I began to meditate on all the ways that community was actually impacting my harp practice, my harp performing, without even realizing it. So then I wanted to foster it for other harpists as well who don't live, you know, in Berkeley, California, where we have a million harpists.
Yeah. It's like the Harp Epicenter.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like the Harp United Nations over there. Yeah.
If you need a harpist, you know where to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of my students, she'd wanted to learn harp all her life. She called me finally at the age of 83 on the recommendation of a mutual acquaintance of ours. And then she figured out that she lives a block and a half away. You know, stuff like that.
That's too funny.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about you, Jillian, and about your experience with community. And yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So, gosh, I never really thought about community, even though it really impacted me until I started working with you. Like, I don't think I actually put it into that name as community. I didn't really grow up in a musical community. I didn't have a lot of support for what I was doing. In fact, I was told many times that I should not be in music and I should just quit and not follow it. So that was a big hurdle for me to get over. But more recently, probably in the last 6 or 7 years, I really contemplating quitting music, even though I had toured and, you know, done all that type of stuff and the teaching and everything. I did not have a community to support me. I didn't have the support that you really need to be an artist, to be a musician. Even though I had my fans, that's great, but you still need the community of other musicians who are helping you along. And that's what changed it for me, was actually the fact that we moved to Minnesota from Chicago. And that was a hard move for me. We ended up in northern Minnesota, and for me, it was a real music desert. There was no collaboration. There was nothing I could really plug into, and I really tried hard to do it. And so that's what really precipitated me wanting to quit music at that point. And then I met you through a mutual friend, actually, and that, for me, I was thinking about that this morning. Where was the start of this idea of community that kept me going? And that was it. Just meeting you and having the connection with another harpist that was also in world music, had a different point of view on how to play the harp. It didn't have to be so strict and perfect, and you didn't have to have the specialized degree to do what you're doing. That was the start of community for me, and that was the turning point for me to stay in music. And then it really built off of there.
Wow. I actually did not know that. I didn't know that it was such a dramatic
Yeah,
they were in such a dramatic situation.
Yeah, not many people do know it. I didn't talk a whole lot about it. I'm more, I'm not necessarily an introvert or an extrovert. I'm kind of an ambivert. I think we've talked about this.
Yeah.
But, and I talked with my husband about it and a little bit with my family about it. But for me, music has always been such a personal experience. For me, it's a spiritual practice, really.
Yeah.
So it was a really hard time for me to get from there to where I am now. So.
Yeah. Wow. I think there's maybe a stereotype of artists working on their own in their turret, and that's a perfectly fine thing to do. Mostly, I think, writers, we have a stereotype. But the fact is, to me, it seems like whenever you research about artists and about the community that they were in, it was a strong community that was supporting them. Their work was not happening in a vacuum at all. It was happening within a community, and they were all learning from each other and kind of pushing their art forward together. The really, classic examples are the Left Bank of Paris, Picasso, and all those guys, are working together, and women. Yep. And then you think about Florence during the Renaissance. I heard this incredible fact that during the Renaissance, Florence only had about 30,000 people in it. And when you're like, consider what happened and how pivotal that still is for us, the whole Renaissance. Only 30,000 people, but because it was so concentrated, they were able to get a huge amount done.
Yeah, and it makes such a difference to have that concentrated.
Yeah.
I mean, and you could live in 30,000 people, but if you're the only one, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So I ended up turning to online for community is what I did, with hooking up with you on Facebook and reaching out to other musicians. So like even recording albums now, I don't necessarily go into the studio with a bunch of musicians anymore. We do everything through the internet. So, my hurdy-gurdy guy was in the UK and he just sent me his files and I sent them along to my brother who's my engineer and, put it together. So building community kind of through those pathways too.
Right. The new Renaissance, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that, the barrier is way down regarding online communication. It actually feels like I really am talking to you. I have my tea here. I think you might have your cup.
I do. I have my
little pot.
Oh, I like your pot. Thank you. I need that pot.
Yeah, it's adorable, huh?
It's so cute.
Yeah, I love your. Can I see yours again? Actually,
my cup.
Yeah,
it's the only one I have right now. Everything else is on the truck in Kent, Washington. I think it's sitting there.
Yeah, because actually you just moved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Minnesota to Seattle. So, yeah, big change. So, and in fact, the difference in community is I almost feel like I'm in culture shock.
Yeah.
To actually have a music community again. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, people are actually asking me about my music and are interested in it. Whereas where I was living, it was, oh, well, let me talk to your husband about your business.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was really different. Yeah, it was strange. So now to go from the opposite, it's nice, but I'm sure I look like deer in headlights.
Because I think even though you just moved, you've already gone to a house concert.
Yeah, house concert. I did just a quick little video for my fans in the living room since we have wood floors and it was pretty good acoustics. So I have the harp with me and that's about it.
I love it. Actually, where can people, let me write this, where can people find you? Is it your name.com?
Yeah, it's JillianLaDage.com.
Okay, so let me type that up for everybody.
And you can find me on Facebook too. So I spend a lot of time on Facebook, probably too much time, but.
Talking about community.
Talking about community. I'm there with you and the Bright Knowledge Harp Circle, and I'm there with my fans and probably other stuff I'm probably wasting time on, like baby goats or.
You're getting inspiration. Artistic.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. So I love everything you're saying, because you really are proving that, when you go to a place where there's no community, it has a big impact on you. And you may not realize it when you are surrounded by communities such as I was and still am, about the need that's out there, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a great need for community. And I think even more so now in our digital age, people just, even if you have a good community, you kind of disconnect from people. So yeah.
I mean, because our lives are so incredibly busy now. And it's hard to figure out, okay, where am I going to find that extra time? But when we can connect online, then we can tend to connect far easier. There's not the travel factor, all things like that. And sometimes we can even send each other videos and things like that. So then time isn't even a factor either.
Yeah, it's kind of the great highway, I think. But the big thing to be conscious of, as I found, is there are so many different little communities on the internet that you could potentially be a part of. You've got to find the one that's going to support you and help you grow. And usually it's only one or two.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to plug in.
That's so true. I mean, I find for myself, actually, what I do with Facebook, there's just a few groups that I'm on, and all I do, I'm very strict with myself. I go into Facebook, I look at my notifications, and I get out.
Yeah.
I actually don't go on my newsfeed.
Oh, yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you get sucked in.
Right. So I need to be really specific about the groups that I've chosen to work with and stay just right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I go in and I interact with the Bright Knowledge Harp Circle members. I love seeing what you guys are doing, what inspiration is coming your way. I love it when they're posting videos, which is great, that we're getting a lot more videos to watch. Yeah. It's really inspiring to me to see how far everybody has come from the beginning to where they're at now. Yeah.
It makes me want to cry,
Yes.
So what we're talking about is the Bright Knowledge Harp Circle, which is an online membership. And that's where we work through the Bright Knowledge system. But a lot more than that, we really actually go deeply into every one of the steps and the elements and show people how to actually do them in their lives. We've been giving a good overview, but in terms of actually doing, that's what happens in the circle. And you're the community manager. Because when I was learning how to do this, actually, the person who taught me said the first person you need to hire is the community manager. They are the most important person. And I was like, okay. Well, I have the perfect person in mind for the job, because, you're a harpist and you also understand about online stuff. And then you're also, really personable,
Well, that's good.
You know how to encourage. And that's what we're going to actually talk about today is 3 ways that community is essential for your practice. There's 3 big items that I think matter. It's support, it's growth. Now the growth, I like that because it's kind of a little bit, gentle pushes, encouraging people to move out. So we've been doing a lot of that. You're really good at that one.
Pushing?
The gentle pushing. And then the celebration, because I think we also need to be reflected in community about the good things that are happening, that we're doing. I think we tend to achieve something and then barrel straight on, and we don't really absorb that, the celebration. We don't celebrate ourselves. And so then we don't have a big well to draw from that really is our resilience in many ways, that gets us through the hard times.
Yeah, and the celebration fills you up again. I mean, the support and the growth is good, but it can tax you and your energy.
Right?
Yes.
That's such a good point because, and I feel like I'm guilty of this myself. I think in our culture, we have a tendency to want to burn all the time, to be on let's be on fire, literally, like all the time. But what happens if you're on fire all the time? Right. Burn out. Yeah. So that's another beautiful spin on celebration, that it's actually filling up. It's kind of like the water again. Yeah, and I kind of look at it as it's a nice circle. It's that support, the growth, and the celebration. And if you're missing one of those pieces, it's not that your community's not working quite well. And you might need to take a look at what's missing for you. Maybe you're not contributing enough too. Yeah. Oh, so true. So true. Well, let's welcome some people in. I can see.
Yes.
So we have, hey, Mia, we have Roberta coming in from New York, Gloria from California. Welcome.
Great.
And Jenny, hey, from Sydney. Mary from Wisconsin. And Anita from Ohio. Hey there, New Hampshire. Nancy. And Patty from the community of LI, New York. I wonder what LI, New York is.
Oh, yeah.
Sally from Wisconsin again. And Mia's saying, I don't have a harp community in Chicago area, not where I'm living.
There's a big harp community in Chicago.
And then she says there's no blind harpists or harpists with special needs. I think, there needs to be a gathering because actually, the traditional thing in Ireland for people who were blind is to become harpists. It was a profession they could actually do in an era that was pre-industrial, Yeah, and thank goodness we have amazing blind harpists like Charlotte Carolyn. We both love
you.
Yeah. So Mia, I think there's some potential there. Hey, Donna from New York. And actually, Jillian, Mia's asking you, are you from Ireland?
No.
But you sort of are.
I guess. Right? I mean, I have Scottish and Irish heritage. Yeah. So, yeah.
And a lot of the music that you play is Celtic, and then you combine it with Middle Eastern, which I was so interested to find out about because that's a lot what I do too.
Yeah, we have a lot of similarities in that way.
Yeah, for sure. And let's see, Laurel from Utah. Yay! Donna coming in from California. Wonderful. Helen is, coming online for the first time. Welcome.
Welcome, Helen.
Yeah, Walnut Creek. Hey, Carla, Maryland. Teresa, welcome. Silicon Valley. Thank you, Silicon Valley, for making all of this possible.
Yes.
We just got so many people coming in. This is great. Okay.
Great.
Okay. So, let's just jump right in. Let's jump right in because
let's do it.
So much great stuff happening. I would love to know before we get started, how much does community support your harp playing, everybody? So just in general, for everybody who's here, I'd like you to know how much is community playing into your harp life? How much is it upholding it? And while you do that, perhaps, Jillian, you could hold forth on community as support. Given that you are our community manager at Right Knowledge Harp Circle, you provide a huge amount of support to our community.
Yeah, I try to. I mean, I try to be there if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you're struggling with, if you're just struggling with a certain part of the membership, if there's an element that you're not really getting, I try to be there and I try to direct you to where you need to go. And most of all, I want to get you to ask the question for yourself. What do you know? So it's not necessarily me answering the question for you all the time, but that you're getting the habit of saying, well, what do I know about this? What can I change about this? And what do I need to do about this right now? So, yeah.
I love that so much because you're really good at sparking inquiry. Like you ask a lot of questions. You post these really cute, almost like memes, and they are asking people, how are you doing on this step? Are you celebrating yourself? Things like that. And I think it's so important because just that little extra element of knowing that someone is out there wanting your answer, that you're sitting, you're saying, come on guys, tell me. And then our members feel really witnessed. And I think, when you are a harpist, you oftentimes end up kind of isolated and it feels like nobody's witnessing you.
Oh yeah.
That's a bad feeling.
It is a bad feeling. And I really understand it because just even being in the music business, starting out, I was very isolated. I grew up on a farm. I mean, we didn't go into town a whole lot. So I understand that feeling of isolation. And for me, that's a big thing I want to make sure that our community doesn't feel. Even if you don't have, say, the physical community around you, I want you to feel like you can jump online and you're here automatically in a community and it's like an old friend.
Mm-hmm.
You have the support, you have someone you can turn to. And even when you're practicing and you're off by yourself in your practice room and you can think, hey, this isn't working out so good, but I know where I can go to get help. And I know who I can show this to. Instead of the former where it used to be, oh, I don't know who I'm going to show this to. I don't know who I can get help from. Because sometimes even if you have a harp teacher, it's not helpful.
Yeah, sometimes it's true. And oftentimes, with your harp teacher, that's just one person's opinion.
Yes.
No matter how great they are, it's still just one person.
Yeah, and it's only half an hour, usually once a week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So.
Actually, that was another reason that I created this online community. Was I was very inspired by how Indian classical music is taught, the kind of apprenticeship program that they have. And what happens is basically the student will go to the teacher's house every day. And they will just kind of hang out for hours on end, and they will listen to other lessons. They'll make some tea, stuff will happen. It's very organic. And there's a whole, what I call ecosystem that gets formed. And I was like, this is a huge missing element in Western music, because I was used to teaching my hour lesson and then dead silence for my students for a whole week. And then they'd come back. Would do our lesson, and dead silence. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is not working.
Yep.
I was so impressed with how it would be like teenagers, actually, that were in this Indian style of learning music, were able to master things so fast. It was actually I worked with Indian musicians who were already professionals. So I didn't know how they actually learned, but then I had the opportunity to do this amazing project for world music, and it was where we all had to collaborate, and they brought in this school of Indian music kids. So they're learning classical Indian music, and they learned one of my hardest songs so fast that I said to their teacher, how did they do that? And she said, I teach the Indian style. I'm like, tell me more. So this idea that you have ongoing support was something I thought, well, obviously people can't all come around to my house. They're very far away, a lot of people. But what if we had an online community?
Yes.
Where they could reach out that way instead. And that's when this huge thing sparked off for me. And I saw amazing results from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been a life changer for so many people. For me, it's been a life changer just to be able to be community manager too. It's really inspired my harp playing and my practice as well. So it keeps me going to see what other people are doing as well. So
yeah, that's true. They say that in order to master something, you need to teach it.
Yeah.
And so, in a lot of ways, you're teaching the material. As well, you're sparking the conversation about how deep are you going in with your purpose? What's up with your practice plan? This kind
Have you done it yet?
Things like that,
Yep.
So I think it's very important for people to cultivate a community deliberately.
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I wouldn't be doing music, and I wouldn't have met you. And I would not be here if that's what would have happened.
Oh my God. What would you have done instead? I can't imagine you not doing music.
I don't know. I don't know, but that's how a dire situation it is. And I think people don't really think how important community really is. For me, it's really almost the essential element of what's going to keep you going. And the thing that was missing for me, and what I love so much about the Bright Knowledge Harp Circle, is it kind of mimics what I grew up with. I took singing lessons first. So I'm a singer first. I didn't take up the harp till 10 years ago. Yeah. But my first voice teacher, I was over there every day. I was her nanny first, and we did lessons all the time. And I went to gigs with them. They were traditional Irish musicians. He played the uilleann pipes and she played the smaller harp. And I didn't like the harp at that point.
Really?
I did not like the harp, had no interest in it. Not whatsoever. But I was there for, I don't know, I think I started lessons with her when I was 13, and 10 years, I was almost over there almost every day. And as a singer, that was a huge, big difference. And that's what I like about the Bright Knowledge Harp Circles. It mimics that idea that you can be there every day watching and learning from someone.
Yeah, yeah. And from each other.
Yes.
All this inspiration that gets sparked from our different members for each other is really so cool. You know, you're reminding me, and of course this is in stark obviousness to me now. The same thing happened to me as a teenager. So I lived on the island of Cyprus. My parents lived in Baghdad at the time, and I lived with a family who didn't have a piano, but I was very serious about piano. So every afternoon I would go to my piano teacher's house Monday through Friday, and I would practice. And her son was one of my best friends. So, you know, we'd hang out. We still hang out, you know. I go back to Cyprus every year. And, oh yeah, you know, I think that whole, like, and her husband was our high school music teacher, you know, so just that whole, ecosystem starts permeating you, and you just get opened up to so many more possibilities.
Yes.
Than when you just go in for your slot and then you leave and then kind of struggle on your own. Yeah,
it's true. And I mean, you teach and I teach, and I've seen that. And it's how do you get your students to communicate with you during the week? I mean, I found my teenagers were better about it than my adults. Yeah. I'd always say, like, if you have a question, email me. I'm here to help you. You know, we only have so much time in our lesson. I can't answer every single question. And then I know how to better prepare to help what you need to get done.
But you know, whenever I've invited people to do that, they don't do it.
What's funny? See, now if you invited me to do that, you couldn't get rid of me.
I think, you know, they feel more legitimate now, I think, to do that now that we have this circle, you know, and then they will, because they know other people are doing it perhaps, you know, and that's very, so let's see what's going on. So it says, Sally, I live in a rural area. Therefore, our harp community is very hard to come by. So I was very happy to find your virtual harp summit and your Facebook Live are such a blessing. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sally. You are so sweet. What else? Jenny. I have several beginning harp students, and I started up a group lesson. Yes, so they can connect with each other and learn to play together. It's very valuable for everyone. What a great model right there, Jenny. Yeah. And kudos to you. I'm sure that is quite an endeavor.
Oh, yes.
To get the whole group together. That's just wonderful. And definitely, being around other musicians, the opportunity to play with them is really important with that ensemble playing and so on. Gorgeous.
I agree.
And Ray, hello again from Boston. You're quickly becoming my harp community.
Yay!
Inspiration and information to enrich my harp experience. Yes, very, very, very good. I love it. And Rachel, I love this online community idea. Yeah. You know, it works even better than I had dreamed of. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. And Jan Joy, actually, I'm hiding your face, Jillian, when I put that comment on, so I will read it out loud. I've led harp circles in the past. Lately, it's been difficult to get folks to show up. Yeah, Jan Joy, this is so true. I have found the same thing, you know, that it's just scheduling and driving and then of course we're dragging a big harp around. Honestly, it is difficult. Seems like I need a different content and purpose for the group that's attractive. And it seems useful enough to encourage them to make a commitment to participate. Yeah, so Jan Joy, actually you could talk to Jenny, because Jenny we're right here, actually, talking to you from Sydney. And Jan Joy, I believe you're in Hawaii. I think get some ideas from Jenny about how she's making this group gel. And then you say, so how do you decide about the content of the gathering for the community? Do you recommend that I try an online experience instead of in person, or maybe both? What about both? I mean, you could have, you know, here are the meetups, you know, where we all get together in person and then communicate in between online. Because again, that dead silence between encounters, I think it's almost poisonous.
Yeah, it's a killer.
Yeah.
Those things. And the other thing you have to consider too is everybody's going to have a different level of dedication. And the key is finding people who are in similar levels of dedication. And you might only find that with a few people online, and you might not be in the same room, but you can join by Skype.
Right.
So
Super. I love it. And Roberta is saying, in Syracuse, there's a local folk harp group and a chapter of the American Harp Society. They welcome new harpists and support them. There are many opportunities to play in concerts together. Great. So that ensemble stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
I especially love playing in schools, introducing youngsters to this lovely instrument. Yes. So I'm a member of the American Harp Society and also of the International Folk Harpers and Craftsmen Society. Did I say it right? That's like the Lima Harp Society. And I just, I love being part of those. Definitely, I need more than just the chapters. I need to actually have what I feel are very personal relationships with people. So I definitely am in those. And then I also do a bunch of other things to have community. I think there needs to be, multiple of engagement, like an ecosystem, right?
Yes, I agree. There really does have to be. I mean, you can have friends online, but it's different than having friends in person. I mean, who are you going to go out to dinner with? Who are you going to say, hey, there's this new restaurant open? I mean, I suppose you could take your phone with you and, have a live video with them at the restaurant. It's not really the same experience.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, the idea of support we were talking about. So community of support, the idea of, witnessing and encouraging, then let's go to one that's a little bit more edgy, community as growth.
This is my favorite one.
What do you hear about that, Jillian? Like, what does that spark for you?
Well, I'm the pot stirrer, is what I think of. Is I'm stirring the pot. I don't want, trouble. I don't want you to get lazy. Doing. And it doesn't mean that growth means you have to constantly having huge milestones. It can be a simple, small little step of, hey, I actually didn't walk past my harp today and I played a few notes. That's growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I find, it's fairly easy for us to stay within our comfort zone. Yes. And we may not realize it, that we're doing that, but with someone else, with community reflecting you, you're like, ooh, not only are they perhaps directly saying, hey, have you made your practice plan? But you're witnessing other people doing things and you're like, maybe I could do that too.
Yeah, you're challenging each other without absolutely challenging each other. It's not overt.
Yeah, it's like inspiring each other. Yes. It's like, this is possible. This is possible for me. And I think sometimes without those examples, it doesn't occur to us what we actually could do.
Yeah, and I find that so surprising that so many people don't think or ask themselves the question, well, what else is possible here? Mm-hmm. I think if everybody would just ask themselves that question, what else is possible here? And that can be just in any situation. You're going to have so many possibilities open up. And I don't know if that's necessarily an American thing that we're taught, not to necessarily ask questions. Mm-hmm. But it does make a difference when you start asking, what else is possible here? What else have I not thought of that if I were to right away would change this for me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think with YouTube, that's also opened people's eyes to a lot of possibilities about harp. Certainly Virtual Harp Summit has done that too. I mean, I will get emails from professional harpists who've done harp all their lives saying things like, I never heard that kind of harp before, or I never heard about this type of arranging before. And now that we have this online community, we're able to, put out so many more possibilities for growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I really think that having accountability, should we say, within a group is a big growth thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's really key. I mean, just on our own, we can sometimes be in endless research mode, just like enjoying all the different things that are available, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't do that.
I could easily be in that, except that I have all these deadlines within a community. And I'm like, I need to get this out. I need to share this thing. I can't just be sitting there, reading yet another book about harmony or whatever, you know.
Like, maybe if I read this next book about harmony, then I'll find a better harmony.
I will, but you have to make choices. You have to make choices about what you're actually going to take action for. That's we talked about that a lot yesterday. And step 4 of the Bright Knowledge System is integration, which means taking action. You know, we've got to take action. It's something so overlooked, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as musicians, I think, and if you're a songwriter, you could, I mean, I think I probably have 5 albums sitting around here. But it's getting to the point where you take action and you have all the pieces laid out and you're in the studio and now it's actually a real life thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, totally. So let's hear some more of these amazing comments. Oh my, there's just so many. I love it. But keep them coming, guys. Don't slow down just because I'm so slow. Rachel's saying yes, accountability and inspiration are the seeds of growth. Yeah. I do think there can be community can be a form of accountability that doesn't have that kind of punitive aspect. And also it's not as boring as just a deadline on your calendar. You know? Yeah. That's not really enough.
No, and that's not fun.
And then, hey, Laura Simpson. Now, she has actually written a play to do with harp. And I went and I saw it. I saw a preview. It was fabulous. Laura, if you want to throw any information in the comments about your play, we would love to hear about it. It's about harpists, and it actually has live harp.
Oh.
As part of the play. So
cool.
one harpist is playing all these different styles, and then these actors are pretending to play the harp, you know, on stage. Oh, it's so cool. It's hard to explain, actually. It's very unique. So Laura is definitely a very inspiring woman. If you are gigging for a living, it is imperative to expand repertoire so both you and your audience can enjoy the new. Yep. Yeah. So, you know, this whole idea of growth, we do need to get out of our comfort zone. You know, and by having community, that encourages you. And, you know, Laura, you know, when you're talking about your audience, that's also part of your community. And I know that you do a lot of repeat gigs at the same place. And so they're kind of encouraging you to grow because you have to then have a huge repertoire.
Yeah, you have to keep their attention.
Yeah.
And then they've heard it almost as many times as you have.
Yeah. And Helen is saying, my teacher has a harp group every week. Wow, that's great. I felt completely unready at first, adult beginner, but she encouraged me and I loved it. It's like a super friendly metronome practice.
You love that.
Yeah. So Helen,
who puts friendly and metronome in the same sentence? I mean,
that's new. So it's so cool the way that you did feel unready at first, and now you love it. So huge growth right there. And then Carla, this is going to cover up. Let me read out some of this because it covers up your face, Jillian, because it's a long
It's okay,
comment.
you can cover up my face.
No, I don't want. So Carla's saying, I have a full-time job as an IT project manager for an online e-commerce company. Teacher part-time. Well, Carla, harp is something I'm eventually going to do full-time. So cool. Right now I practice in the evening, have lessons Saturday, and my efforts. I would like to start a harp circle in my community in Maryland, as the folks who are in my community right now, I know are in New Orleans, right? Any ideas on how to grow a community to help others and satisfy my growth as a harpist as well? Great question. So I definitely think by connecting online is a great way to grow your community. I mean, there's so much that you can share and learn online. I mean, in our Bright Knowledge Circle, people have completed projects like finishing CDs, really upping their YouTube channels. So this is for people who are going sort of more the professional route. We also have a lot of harpists who are beginners or doing it for fun. And so this has really been a way for them to grow a huge amount as a harpist. So you can definitely do it online, and the thing is, it's so convenient, of course. You know, you don't have to go to New Orleans or Maryland. And then in addition, cultivating a community sort of the bricks and mortar style, I think one of the best things you can do is go and support other harpists, go to their concerts, in the area, if there are any. But definitely I think the online is here to stay, especially when we go holographic. Then it will feel really great. It'll be absolutely 3D. Yeah.
Frightening to think of.
I know. We can observe technique in 3D. It'll be fabulous. So Teresa is saying, I had something like what you described about Indian music teaching during my grad work in history. A very sociable and accommodating advisor who created a functional community of scholars amongst his students with lots of sharing and support. Yes. So you've got me thinking about how to replicate some of this in Bright Knowledge Harp Circle, perhaps online lessons with some of your students at various levels where we could observe, ask questions. This is great. This is so long. I love it. I do have a very high level teaching group called the Harp Ecosystem. And that's a very small group where we do a lot of one-on-one, and then we have these masterclass style things. So I do have this in place, but there may be a way to bring more of it into the Bright Knowledge Harp Circle as well. So great. Yeah. So this way of learning is so productive and supportive. You are so welcome. It's great to have you with us, Teresa. Cool. So let's see. Oh, just so many wonderful comments. But before I get to them, let's talk about community as celebration, because we are celebrating, right? I really liked the way that you described it, Jillian, as celebration is like the refill.
Yes.
It's the pause and the drink everything back in.
Right. I mean, well, think about how you feel after you go to a great party, or you've spent a night out with really close friends, and maybe you're having a horrible week, but it seems so much better and easier to bear because you've been with people that you can celebrate. I mean, you're essentially celebrating too. So it's really a big important part, and I don't think it's done enough.
Right.
I think we kind of gloss over it. So
yeah. I think I definitely got into this for a while. I've backed away from it. I got into it unconsciously. Is this idea of you're only as good as your last project.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah. And the problem with that is you're not celebrating. You're just seeing, okay, I've got this project and now I need to immediately do another one.
Yeah.
Because I, have also been in the academic world, there's, publish or perish.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Same mentality. And, you get in this kind of treadmill where actually most people don't feel the same way, and they don't really care, and they don't even know what you're talking about anyway, regarding this publish or perish, or like as good as your last project. Yeah. But I think it has no space in it. This attitude allows no breathing room. And it's like, where's the creativity going to come from? If I'm just like driving forward all the time, when does the composting happen?
You have to have time to breathe too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, it's in the artist community too. You're only as good as your last CD, or when was your last CD, and when's your next CD, and when's it coming? And you have to remember that not everybody's heard your music. So even though that CD may be 10 years old, it's brand new to someone who's just found you, and they think it's fabulous, and they're celebrating it. So why did you stop celebrating it?
Yeah, that is so key. My goodness. Yeah. So, I think we get this tremendous pressure. It feels like pressure, when we don't stop and celebrate. And I think we also don't get to really build on what we created enough. We've kind of moved on to the next thing. It's like, what if you really do still sit with that CD,
Right.
and really cultivate it, and, perhaps notate all the arrangements, which I've never done for any of my music.
I haven't either.
Awful, because I've moved on, and I still perform the arrangements.
Yeah.
But I've never actually notated them. Just like
But haven't you noticed that as you perform them, as the years go on, you perform them differently and you change it and you add things. Definitely. So you are still creating, but it's not the same way. And I think the pressure to just constantly be creating, you're going to get to a point where you have no creative juice left.
Burnout is so common.
It really is. Right. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. So this celebration, filling up the well.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think, it gives you material to be inspired again when you are filling it up. And it also gives you the strength when things aren't going well. Because there always are going to be moments in our careers, in our harping practice, when it feels like a struggle.
Oh, yeah.
And those are actually usually times when you're actually growing like crazy, but you don't see it and you don't feel it. It feels horrible.
Yeah. You're like, just get me out of this.
Yeah. Can we move on?
Yeah. Can I skip this part?
But when we have, filled up our well, we just have that resilience. We can just keep going rather than we get knocked over by a feather because we're so depleted,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So cool. So, so guys, I would love to know what ideas we have sparked for you for making community more essential in your harp practice. I really hope that, that we've shown you that community is essential. Because again, it was something I didn't realize was so essential because I had it already, you know? And then when I encountered people who didn't have it, it was like, wow, this has such a massive impact. And for you, actually, Jillian, you were saying it's the most important essential element.
Yeah, because I really didn't realize how much I was missing it. I didn't have something to put my finger on. So it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So, and it's a huge thing as an artist too, to create your own community around your own music. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, key really. So yeah, the big three are the support that community gives you, the growth, and then the celebration. So yeah, guys, don't be shy. I would love to hear, what ideas you're having for incorporating community into your harp practice. And so Janice is saying, she's coming in from Wisconsin. I was lucky early to be connected with ISFHC, International Society of Folk Harpists and Craftsmen, and a local community of harpists, but there's less support for the group lately. I've just found this to be happening over and over again. I think our lives are more busy. It just seems that way.
Yeah, and life is changing. The way we do life is different.
Yeah. Well, and also that this actually works, that online communities do work. They are a very attractive alternative. They're not like the leftovers. It actually does work. I had a small ensemble for many years, which gave me purpose, but that too seems to be drying up. I need to redefine my purpose and develop my own community. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We said yes. So, by the way, guys, if you take this quiz, the Harp Circle quiz, this is the one that shows you, and it's a free quiz, it shows you which essential element you need more support on. So, today, of course, we're talking about community. There are 5 essential elements, and artistry, technique, inspiration, learning, and community. This quiz will tell you which one you're lacking a little bit, but it won't just tell you that and leave you hanging. It will actually give you some tips by email on how to support that. Anywhere, I think, between 3 to 5 really, really practical tips, things you could actually do right now. So all of the tips that I chose you can do them right away. They're not like long-term, why don't you go to harp school in our, I think that would be really fun, but no, something you can do right now.
Yeah, it'd be fun, but is it like practical right now?
Yeah, exactly. Because there are things you can do right now.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Laurel is saying, I recently found a community of local therapeutic harpists that's graduated from various programs. They get together once a month. It's really fun. Yeah. Superb.
Yeah, and that's a big thing about community. Let's put some fun back in our lives.
Right? Oh, I mean, we have so much fun together. It's ridiculous. You know,
we should probably get in trouble for how much fun we have sometimes.
Yeah. You know, there's a saying, you know, a worry shared is a worry halved. And I love that. You know, I feel when people are without a community, little things become a big deal. Things that actually aren't a big deal, you know, we get down on ourselves. You know, and a community would be like, hey, what are you on about?
Yeah, what are you talking? It's not that bad.
Oh, no, you're fine. You know, so I do think, that's a big one. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'm seeing lots of great comments here. People do go back and check them out because there's so much value happening in our comments section. And this is our community, right?
Absolutely.
I love it. And what else do I want to say? I'm so grateful for you, Jillian, to be a major part of my community. You're my community manager.
Well, it's good that we like each other, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're born a day apart and a few years apart.
Right.
Right? You're January 25th?
Yep.
And I'm 26.
Yeah.
So we have two Aquarians at the helm.
Watch out, world.
Dangerous stuff. Dangerous. Yeah. So, I just want to publicly say, thank you for everything you do.
Thanks. Well, I mean, I'm grateful for you because honestly, I really am still doing music because of the connection.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I am super, super honored by that.
Yeah. So I'm honored to be a part of this community, and I feel like I'm passing it on. Like that connection you gave for me, I feel like I get to pass that connection on for everybody else. So.
Yeah, and you definitely are. You definitely are. I see it.
Good.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, I guess we'll sign off here.
I don't really have anything else to say about community.
You know? Yeah.
It's a great thing. Everybody needs one.
They do.
Whatever it may look like, you know, and everybody's community may be different. It could be online. It could be offline. It could be on your own, you know, developing your own artist Facebook page, right? That's a great way to develop community too. Right. I love my fans. I love my community on my page. We have so much fun. So, I mean, look at different ways. How can you add community in your life and add more fun?
Love it. Those are great words to end with. Super. So, we've been talking about the support, growth, and celebration that community brings. Remember to take the free quiz, Harp Circle quiz, and find out about your essential element. And we will catch you again. I think there's one more Facebook Live coming up that will be on Tuesday next week, and we will hit the 5th step. Step 5, fulfillment. Fulfillment. a lot of celebration happening in there. Yeah, and actually, I'll probably do a Q&A about the Bright Knowledge Harp Circle, because we are opening doors for just a few days. We only open doors for about, I think, 9 days every 6 months, because once our group is formed, then we really just focus on who is in there. So we can't really have people straggling in, 3 months in or something like that. So it's only open for a very short time. So I really encourage people to go on over to the welcome page. I think it's joinharpcircle.com, I believe. Let's see. I hope it is anyway. I think it's that. And you'll be able to find out much more about it. Yes. Okay, cool. Officially open. Yes. Joinharpcircle.com. And great. And I'll be able to answer questions for you on the Tuesday. Yay. Okay, cool. So thanks again, Jillian, and congratulations on your amazing move to Seattle.
Thanks.
Yeah. You're on the West Coast too. Okay. Bye for now. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here and being an amazing community. Bye.